I don't have any of it. No social media. None. And I love life. And my life keeps going, and I'm okay. But you got to make the choice. And these are serious choices. Because we all want this extraordinary life, right? This extraordinarily fun life. Where everything's fun. I just go on vacations, and I go to the next best thing. So I was talking to the guys that when we went on the trip down to the seminary. And I said, don't get me wrong, like, the basketball game was really cool. We went to the national championship. But at the end of it, I'm like, yeah, like, I had a good time. Like, it was fun. But then what? Like 5 years ago, I went to a Bon Jovi concert. It was awesome. Like, people are just like, yeah. I mean, they're screaming. The family that took us, because it was kind of funny, because they're like, we want to take you to a Bon Jovi concert. And I'm like, cool. And I'm like, wait, I'm a priest. I was like, I could wear my clerics. No, that'd be weird. I'm going to Bon Jovi. And like, when we were there was this girl, and she had this shirt on that said, been with you since '82. And I'm like, wow, like, that's like a real life disciple of Bon Jovi. And the concert was fun, and we were jumping and yelling and having a good time. But then after it, we're walking home, and I'm like, God, you know, like, there's got to be more, right? Do you ever feel that in your heart? There's got to be more. I do. And the more is the Lord. The answer to the problems of this world is not political, it's not economic, it's not the president, it's Jesus. And until people find him again, we're in a lot of trouble. Because without Jesus, the devil reigns. And I've seen him. And you don't ever want to see him. I was in an exorcism. I held the lady. She was about 120 pounds. She was 90 years old. It took 5 grown men to hold her down. I saw her take a guy and throw him off into a wall. Heard her speaking in different languages. Growling. Screaming. And the whole time I held her, just like this. I had her like in a double chicken wing. And I was squeezing as hard as I could. You guys, I was squeezing so hard. The next morning, when I woke up, I was all bruised. All over. And there was one point where I was holding her, and she would switch. She would go from the demonic into who she, just herself. And I'm like cranking on her, and she's like, you're hurting me. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. And she's like, stop! I'm like, what? But it went on for an hour, and you guys, you know what the number one emotion I felt in that? Despair. Despair. Because that's what evil is. Evil is empty. Evil has nothing to give. Sure, it looks fun. That's why Paul says he appears as an angel of light. Come to the party. Get wasted. It'll be fun. And all of a sudden you're like, now I drink too much. Now I'm a drunk. Now I'm looking at pornography. Now I can't control myself. Now I don't know how to treat women. Now I'm always seeking another man. And all of a sudden you're like, how did my life get to this? You have no idea how many people I sit and they say, I don't know how this happened. And I say, I do. You chose it. You chose it. So what are you going to choose is the real question. And I promise you, if you choose the Lord, it will be hard. You will suffer. But here's the thing, you guys. For anything great in this world, anything good in this world, it's hard. I remember being in this gym. There was a guy who was, you guys remember Ben Weisbeck? Yeah. So he was shooting. I remember I came in. It was like 5 o'clock. And he's shooting. He's got the little thing underneath. You know, it like falls in. So he's like at the top of the key. And he's just like. And he's just sitting there shooting. I'm like, hey, Ben, you know, we're going to have to set up here at like 6:30. He's like, yeah, no problem, Father. I'll be out of here. So I come back at 6:30. Same damn spot. And I'm like, Ben, we got to set up. Okay. Grabs the machine, takes it, puts it away, then he goes over to the other gym. Well, I don't know how long he was there, because we came out, and we go over to that gym, and we're like, Ben, you gotta go home now. It's time to go home. You think you've been shooting that enough? And he's like, oh, okay. And he would do that all the time. Because it takes discipline. discipline. It takes a lot of work to be good at something. There's no difference in the spiritual life. Same thing. But here's the thing, you guys. We all want the exciting life, but do you want to live it? Will you really enter into it? When I was in, do you guys know the Dave Matthews Band? You ever heard of them? I'm kind of dating myself, but when I was in college, my brother and I kind of we traveled with them. Like, we went to like 15 or 16 different shows all over the nation, and, wasted most of our summer and our money. And we got to the Gorge, Washington, and it's an amphitheater that's like carved into the side of like a hill. It's beautiful. And the stage is like, right here behind it is the river, and a huge drop-off. It's stunning, with three shows, back to back to back. The shows were great, but then during the day we're like, well, what should we do? And my brother's like, well, let's just drive around and see if we can find something. So we drove and drove and drove and drove and drove. Eventually we found these cliffs. And we're like, hey, we could jump off of those. We're like, yeah, that would be fun. So like, we park and we're like at this 30-foot cliff. And you look down and we're like, we can see the bottom, but it's gotta be deep enough, right? Because college guys are idiots. And so we jump, we're like, you hit the bottom, but it didn't hurt, We're doing like flips and we're doing twists and we're doing all this stuff. And then I turn around and I look, and like off in the distance is like what I would say is like a 90 to 100-foot cliff. And I'm like, hey, you guys, this is like 30 feet and it's awesome. So that must be like 3 times as awesome. And they're like, yeah. So we drove over to this huge cliff. Now, when you're looking at a 90-foot cliff from a long ways away, it looks fun. When you get to the edge, we stood at the edge and we're just like, whoa. Off the 5 of us, a couple girls had joined us at this point, and we're like, so who's gonna go? And I'm like, my idea, so I don't have to go. And the other guy's like, no, wait, it was your idea, so you have to go. And we're sitting there like, and everybody's like, I'm not going. Fine, I'm just like, this is stupid, nobody's gonna go. So they're all arguing, I just kind of walk away. And I'm just like, yeah! Right? And I take, oh, that hurt. I take out, and I'm like joking, I'm like, yeah! Shit! Because when you get about a third of the way down, you realize you got 2/3 left. You're not even halfway there, and you are picking up so much speed. And I was just like, and then you just start flailing, And I landed, and I hit like this. And I'm telling you, like, the next day I was just black and blue all of my arms. But I went down, and I'm like, and like, in Antarctica, they have penguins. The way that penguins figure out if the water's safe or not is they all get like to the edge and they just go like this until one falls in. And then they all look down. And if he comes up, then they're like, oh, it's great. And they all jump in. And if he doesn't, they're like, okay, he's dead. That's literally how it happens. And everybody was like looking over, see if I died or not. And all of a sudden I came out and it was just like, it's awesome! And it was just like, boom, boom. Everybody starts jumping. And I had the best view. Because you're like, and then even the 2 girls that were like, yeah! And this one girl went, and she hit like this. And it was just like, whap! And I like looked around, my buddies were all looking at each other, and she just comes up like, and I'm like, she's dead! So we like grab her, like drag her over this rock, and we're like, are you okay? And she's like, what? We're like, what's your name? October. Okay, she's fine. We'll just stay around the rock. But there was one guy that didn't jump. I don't know what the deal was. I don't know if he was just scared or just couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. And later that night, we were sitting around a fire, we were talking, hanging out, laughing. And like a big group of people came over, and we got to talking to them, and they're like, hey, what are you guys doing for fun? Because there's not a whole lot to do. And we're like, oh man, we went cliff jumping. And we were at this 30-foot cliff, and they went to this 90-foot cliff, jumped off the 90-foot cliff, a girl knocked out, almost died, and it was awesome. And then the guy that didn't jump was like, yeah man, it was so much fun. And then we all stopped, and I'm like, you didn't even jump. He's like, yeah, man. And we're like, up on the cliff, we're looking over. It's awesome. But you're a total poser. And it hit me when I was praying one day. I remembered that story. That's what it's like. That's the difference between, with this quote, right, about the arena, the man who really gets into it, versus the man who just stands outside and mocks it. or pretends that they're in the arena, pretends to be somebody that they're not. That's exactly what it is. That's what Christianity is. You stand at the edge of this ridge called Christianity, and you're like, okay, I'm here, and it's fun. I've heard it's yay, but look at that. Are you serious? I don't want to jump. But here's the crazy part. When people do jump, when they do go all in, guess what happens? People start to follow. Because they see it in the way they live. They see that something's different about them. And they want it. In the early Christian church, the number one thing that brought Christians into the church was sure, martyrdom. Yeah, that was cool. People were like, no. I'm not sure it was cool. Like, people, his head fell off. I'm in. But the number one thing that brought Christians into the early church when their heads fell off as soon as they signed up for it was other Christians. They saw these other Christians and they're like, these guys, like, they're awesome. They love each other. They care for each other. They help each other. They pray. They're virtuous. They're fun. They're family-oriented. I want part of that. I don't want the corruption and crap of the Roman Empire. I don't want the vomitoriums. You know what those were? They would eat and eat and eat, and then they'd go and then they'd go and eat. Because what they were focused on, what was the focus of the Roman Empire? Pleasure. What's the focus of the world right now? Pleasure. Pleasure's a good thing, but if you take it out of context, how it should be used properly, it'll ruin you. It will ruin you. You guys, you only have one life. One life. What do you got to lose? What do you have to lose? And better yet, what do you have to gain? To finish with this story. A good priest friend of mine, he went on a flight, and he was coming back from Rome. And he was sitting in the airport area, and there was this rock band. And this was back in like the 80s. So they had like, the tight leather, long, huge hair, stunk like garbage, and alcohol. And they were sitting, and he's sitting there, and he's like, oh, Jesus, please don't let him sit by me. Like, I don't want to sit by this guy. He's in his clerics, and he gets on the plane, sits down, and this other, the lead singer of all people, sits right next to him. And he like looks over and he's like, hey man, you're like one of those guys that can't do it, right? And he's like, what? Like chicks. And he's like, well, if you mean I'm a Catholic priest and I've chose to be celibate and not married, yes, you're correct. And he's like, don't you think that's like a huge gamble? And he's like, no. Because if I'm wrong, I've still lived a good life. I love my life. I help people, I serve people, I have joy, I have peace, I have no regrets in the morning. He's like, don't you think you have a bigger gamble? He's like, what are you talking about, man? He's like, how do you live your life? He's like, I do whatever I want. He's like, I'm high right now. He's like, I drink, I party, I have sex, whatever I want. It's great. And he's like, yeah, but what if there is a God? Did you ever think about that? What if there are consequences for what you're doing? What if hell is real? Then you've risked way more than I have. He said the guy opened a pill bottle, took a bunch of pills, grabbed a bottle of whiskey, pounded it, went to sleep. What's your choice? How are you going to live? I'm telling you guys, you don't have to listen to me. I hope you do. This life is not about you. And the sooner that you learn that, the happier you will be. And the more joy you'll have in your own life, and the more joy you'll bring to others. But it's your choice. So choose wisely. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit. As it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen. May Almighty God bless you, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Thanks, you guys. I just found this out. I was going to bring it out and it didn't come up in the talk. In the letter to the Philippians, St. Paul says, I consider everything as lost because of the supreme good of knowing Jesus Christ. For his sake, I have accepted the loss of all things, and I consider them so much rubbish, if only I may gain Christ and be found by him. Rubbish is a terrible word. You know what the Greek translation is? Excrement. Let me reread it now. I consider everything as lost because of the supreme good of knowing Christ Jesus. For his sake I have accepted the loss of all things, and I consider all things of this world a pile of shit, if only I may gain Christ and be found by him. Isn't that great? No, I mean, who thought the Bible would swear like that? So Paul said excrement. Whatever. Have a great day.
Thank you, Father. It is not for him.